The Knight Gambit TV. Aronian vs Praggnanandhaa. 56-move blitz battle. Full game analysis, Part 1 to Part 5. Fire intro. The Knight Gambit TV. Hello chess lovers. Welcome back to the Knight Gambit TV. Today, we have a fascinating blitz battle from Saint Louis Rapid and Blitz 2026. On one side, the legendary Armenian grandmaster Levon Aronian, rated 2715. On the other side, India's young superstar Praggnanandhaa, rated 2707. The time control was just 5 minutes plus 2 seconds increment, so every move had to be played quickly and accurately. The game started with an unusual king's pawn setup and developed into a highly strategic middle game. Both players created chances, exchanged pieces, and finally entered a tense rook ending. So let's go through this exciting game move by move, from the very first move to the final draw. If you love chess games, opening ideas, tactics, and grandmaster battles, make sure to subscribe to the Knight Gambit TV. Let's begin. Chess Pawn Part 1. The unusual opening. 1. e4 e5. Aronian starts with 1.e4, immediately controlling the center and opening lines for the queen and bishop. Praggnanandhaa responds with 1. e5, taking his share of the center. 2. d3 nc6. Aronian plays 2.d3. Instead of developing the knight immediately, White supports the e4 pawn and prepares a flexible setup. Praggnanandhaa answers 2. nc6, developing the knight toward the center. 3. a3 g6. White plays the unusual 3.a3. This prevents pieces from coming to b4 and prepares possible expansion on the queen side. Black responds 3. g6, preparing to develop the bishop to g7. 4. c for bg7. Aronian continues with 4.c4, controlling the important d5, square, and building a broad center. Praggnanandhaa plays 4. bg7, completing the fianchetto. 5. nc3 d6. White develops with 5.nc3. Black answers 5. d6, strengthening the e5, pawn, and controlling the center. 6. g3 f5. Aronian plays 6.g3, preparing to fianchetto his own bishop. Praggnanandhaa immediately becomes aggressive with 6. f5, challenging White's center and preparing attacking possibilities. 7. bg2 and f6. White develops the bishop to g2. Black plays 7. in f6, developing another piece and putting pressure on e4. 8. ng2. White chooses 8.ng2, developing the other knight. Praggnanandhaa castles with 8, though, bringing his king to safety. 9. f4. Aronian also castles with 9.0. Black captures with 9 f4. This was an inaccuracy. Black had the stronger f4. The capture gives White a chance to improve his position. 10. dex for b6. White recaptures with 10.dex4, restoring the pawn in the center. Black plays 10. b6, developing the bishop and preparing to coordinate his pieces. 11. nd5 qd7. White's knight jumps to 11.nd5, establishing a strong central position. Black responds 11. qd7, connecting his pieces and preparing possible rook activity. 12. b3 rf7. Aronian plays 12.b3, strengthening the queen side and preparing development. Praggnanandhaa plays 12. rf7, an interesting rook maneuver. 13. ra2 raf8. White moves the rook to a2 with 13.ra2. Black doubles his rooks toward the king side with 13. raf8. 14. f3 bh3. White plays 14.f3, reinforcing the center. Praggnanandhaa responds 14. bh3, placing his bishop actively near White's king. 15. qd3 nd8. White's queen moves to d3. Black retreats the knight with 15. nd8, preparing to reorganize his pieces. 16. b3 bxg2. Aronian develops with 16.b3. Black exchanges the bishop with 16. bxg2. 17. kxg2 n6. White's king recaptures. 17.kxg2. Black plays 17. n6, bringing the knight toward active central squares. Part 2. The middle game battle. 18 rd2. ing4. Aronian plays 18.rd2, but this allows black to become more active. 18.b4 was stronger. Praggnanandhaa immediately responds 18, ing 4, attacking and increasing pressure. 19. RDD1 next 3 plus. White retreats with 19.RDD1. Black exchanges with 19, next 3 plus, forcing white to respond. 20. C3b6. White recaptures 20.c3. Black plays 20, b6, preparing to challenge white's queenside structure. 21. Rf2 a5. Aronian plays 21.Rf2, defending and coordinating his rook. Praggnanandhaa answers 21, a5, gaining queenside space. 22. b4 axb4. White strikes with 22.b4. Black captures 22, axb4. 23. axb4 qc6. Aronian recaptures with 23.axb4. Black moves the queen to 23, qc6, creating pressure and keeping the position active. 24. rc1 h5. White plays 24.rc1, improving the rook. Black advances 24, h5, gaining kingside space. 25. b5 qd7. White pushes 25.b5, gaining space. Black retreats with 25, qd7. 26. ra1 kh7. Aronian activates his rook with 26.ra1. Black plays 26, kh7, giving his king a safer square. 27. ra7 bh6. White's rook penetrates with 27.ra7. Black responds 27, bh6, placing the bishop actively. 28. qd3 qc8. 28. White brings the queen to d3, then black replies with 28. Black moves the queen to c8, maintaining control. 29. ing1 nd4. White's knight moves back to g1. Black's knight jumps to the powerful d4 square. This is an important moment because the knight becomes very active in the center. 30. qd1 c6, 30. White moves the queen to d1. Black plays 30, c6, challenging White's advance b5, pawn, and trying to open lines. Part 3. The exchanges begin. 31. rxf7 plus rxf7. Aronian sacrifices his rook for Black's rook with 31.rxf7 plus. Praggnanandhaa immediately responds 31, rxf7. The rooks are exchanged, simplifying the position. 32. bxc6 qxc6. White captures with 32.bxc6. Black's queen takes back. 32, qxc6. 33, qd3b5. White plays 33.qd3. Black pushes 33, b5, trying to gain queenside counterplay. 34, cxb5 qxb5. White captures 34.cxb5. Black responds 34, qxb5, removing the pawn. 35, qxb5 and xb5. White exchanges queens with 35.qxb5. Black recaptures with 35, nxb5. Now the queens are gone, and the game enters an endgame. 36, h4 nc7. Aronian plays 36.h4, creating a little kingside space. 36. Praggnanandhaa moves the knight to c7. 37. nxc7 rxc7. White exchanges knights with 37.nxc7. Black's rook recaptures 37, rxc7. The position is now a rook endgame. 38. ra2b3. Aronian activates his rook with 38.ra2. 38. Black's bishop moves to e3, becoming very active. 39. na2 kg 739. White develops the knight to e2. Black plays 39, kg7, improving the king. 40. ra3 bc5. 40. White's rook moves to a3. 40. Black's bishop retreats to c5. 41. rb3 ra7. Aronian plays 41.rb3, becoming active on the third rank. Black answers 41, ra7, defending and preparing counterplay. 42. nc3 kf7. 42. White's knight moves to c3. Black improves his king again with 42, kf7. 43. nd5 ra2 plus. 43. White's knight reaches d5, an active square. Praggnanandhaa checks with 43, ra 2+. Blitz time pressure. 44, kh3, ra1. 44 Aronian moves his king to h3. 44. Black's rook shifts to a1. 45. rb7 plus kf8. White checks with 45.rb7 plus. Black responds 45, kf8. 46. rb8 plus kf7. Again, Aronian checks with 46.rb8 plus. 46. Praggnanandhaa returns to f7. 47. rb7 plus kf8. White repeats the check, 47.rb7 plus. 47. Black returns to f8. Both players are now using checks to maintain activity. 48. f4 1 rupee. Aronian breaks with 48.f4, creating a passed pawn possibility. Black activates his rook with 48, re1. 49. rb8 plus kf7. White continues with 49.rb8 plus. Black answers 49, kf7. 50. rb7 plus kf8. Another check, 50.rb7 plus. 50. Black returns to f8. 51. f5 gxf5. White pushes 51.f5, trying to create another pawn threat. Black captures with 51, gxf5. 52. x5 rf1. White recaptures 52.x5. Black activates the rook with 52, rf1. The position remains completely balanced. 53. rb8 plus kf7. Aronian continues checking with 53.rb8 plus. Black moves 53, kf7. 54. rb7 plus kf8. White checks again with 54.rb7 plus. 54. Black returns to f8. 55. rb8 plus kf7. White plays another check, 55.rb8 plus. Black answers 55, kf7. Part 5. The final draw. 56. rb7 plus. Aronian plays 56.rb7 plus, giving another check. Praggnanandhaa has no reason to take unnecessary risks. The players agree to a draw. Final result, 1/2, 1/2. What a fascinating blitz battle. Aronian and Praggnanandhaa fought for 56 moves, but neither player could break the balance. The game began with the unusual king's pawn game. Leonardis variation moved through a complex middle game and eventually reached a rook and pawn ending where repeated checks kept the position equal. One of the most important lessons from this game is that in blitz chess, activity and king safety are extremely important. Aronian had opportunities to improve his position, especially with 18.b4 instead of 18.rd2. Praggnanandhaa also had an earlier opportunity with 9f4 instead of the inaccurate 9f4. But after the middle game exchanges, both players defended accurately. And in the final stage, Aronian's repeated rook checks kept Black's king from making progress. This is a perfect example of how grandmasters handle difficult positions under extreme time pressure. Studio microphone outro, the Night Gambit TV. And that's the end of this exciting battle between Levon Aronian and our Praggnanandhaa. The final score is 1/2, 1/2, after 56 moves of intense blitz chess. Which move impressed you the most?